Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back. So, just so you guys know, basically history is repeating itself right now. Iraq is walking in Kuwait's footsteps. You guys are going to see a lot of things repeating itself right now as Iraq moves forward in time. Okay? So, just as you see things happen, when you see things happen, that kind of thing, Iraq's going to be walking in Kuwait's footsteps, time frame wise. And I'm going to show you that from one angle right here in this first article. Okay. Parliamentary finance. I want to stress something to you guys too. Remember, Iraq made it very clear in numerous articles. You've seen at least, I think through time, I brought you guys a good 3 to 4 articles on this. Iraq has made it clear. They said the rate cannot change until like the beginning of a new fiscal budget period. Okay. Now, again, with the 2020 budget, Iraq never did a 2020 budget because they did not need one. Oil, oil above $40 covered all their government operating expenses financially. So what Iraq did was they simply did a borrowing law to allow them to start the reforms in January, but they still, because they did the borrowing law, they've told us they have one quarterly payment due because the borrowing law was only for 12 trillion Iraq dinar. It simply has enough dinar in it just to cover one quarterly payment that would be due during Q1 of next year. Okay. So, and now remember, because Iraq positioned money for a quarterly payment that's due next year, they confirmed to us that they have to change the rate by the end of their first quarter, which is by the end of March of next year. So we have to see the rate change, guys, by the end of March. It cannot go past March of next year. Okay. But Iraq has also made it very clear. All I'm doing is bringing you guys facts right now. Iraq has made it very clear they can only change the rate at the beginning of a new budget fiscal period. So Iraq's Q1 for 21 period starts April 1st. We're going to see all that in this article right here. Okay, let's look at this. The government has set a date for sending the budget, and we addressed it in an official letter. A member of the Parliamentary Committee, Jamal Cougar, revealed on Saturday the date for sending a law to the general budget for the year of 21, according to what the government has set, indicating that the committee addressed the government with an official letter in this regard. Cougar, the government has not sent the general budget for 21, noting that during the meeting with the Prime Minister, Finance Minister of Planning, and the Governor of the Central Bank, the Minister of Finance confirmed that the budget will reach the House of Representatives either at the end of this month or mid-December to next. Okay? He called on authorities concerned to send the budget in a hurry so that the issue of the salary disbursement for the month of January is not delayed, under the pretext of not approving the budget, indicating that we asked the component authorities face to face, as well as notifying them with an official letter to expedite sending the budget. He stressed the response has not yet arrived from the government regarding this law. The committee's reporter had earlier confirmed to the Alpharet News that the salaries of January would not be delayed due to the failure to send a budget law to the specified date. And you know what, guys, they're not going to have it delayed. They're lying to you here. The reason why they won't have salaries delayed is because, again, the 21, or I'm sorry, the borrowing law, guys, doesn't cover salaries. The borrowing law actually covered the reforms, and I proved that to you guys over the last week, okay, in an article. So that's why budget won't be. But notice how here they're saying that they're probably not going to get the budget to Parliament until mid-December. Uh, Guys, it doesn't matter really. Parliament's not. I mean, you got to factor in the holidays. They may take holiday breaks. I don't know, but the the way I'm looking at it here, guys, if you look at how they just keep kicking the can and dragging out the 21 budget, they're very clearly showing you that Parliament's not really going to have the budget and really start on it until January. Okay. The fact that they will be basically they're going to be working on the budget in what is Iraq's Q4 of next year, starting in January through March. That's the period they're going to be working on the budget. And you know why, guys? They don't need the budget until April 1st. That's why they're going to be working on it and approving it during their Q4 of their fiscal year of 2020 Q4 period, because it's not needed until Q1 of 21. Q1 of 21 for Iraq starts April 1st, okay? So there you go. All right? So you can see exactly what I'm telling you right there. Okay, so they'll be working again on the 21 budget during their Q4 period for their fiscal year of 2020. They'll work on it from January through March, and then they actually need it for April 1st, which is Q1 of 21. Okay, so that just goes to show you that it just goes to show you that they basically um, are walking in Kuwait's footsteps. Remember, guys, Kuwait's fiscal year also starts April 1st. Kuwait has the exact same fiscal years as Iraq, and that's why, guys, historically, this is just historical data, because Kuwait changed their rate on Sunday, March 24th of 1991. That is why that's why they did it near the end of March, so that they could cover walking into April. Okay? Now remember, I stressed something to you guys in one of the last previous videos I did. I said that there's a reason why Iraq has waited until Q4 of 2020 to start the reforms. And you know what, guys, I'll just tell you, they started their reforms specifically in Q4 of 2020 because Q4 backs up to a brand new budget fiscal period, guys, of 21, which starts April 1st. Think about that very carefully. And again, historically, Kuwait changed their rate on Sunday, March 24th of 1991. And mark my words, you're going to see Iraq walking in Kuwait's footsteps and repeating. Iraq will be repeating what Kuwait did historically. Okay? So, but again, your back wall on the rate change is the end of March. Okay? Because of that, because of how the borrowing law and that first payment, that first reform payment that's due has to be paid by the end of March, and it absolutely requires that's the only thing that Iraq has outstanding right now on the table that does require the rate change. It's that first reform payment. Not, they don't have anything else out there right now that requires that. All right, let's look at the next article. Parliamentary Finance issues a package of reforms that includes imposing a value-added tax and reviewing the dollar exchange rate. Parliamentary Finance Committee issued proposals to address the financial crisis in Iraq, which included reviewing the exchange rate of the dollar against the dinar, establishing a national telecommunications company, and imposing a value-added tax. The reforms presented by the Parliamentary Finance included the three axes. The first, entitled Maximizing Revenues and Rationalizing Expenditures, and included the immediate activation of compulsory collection of services provided to the government, commercial, industrial, and agriculture, and household institutions such as electricity, water, sewage, landlines, and their deduction from grants and salaries, in addition to reviewing crude oil prices, the provider of the refineries, and the unutilized government assets such as real estate and land flow through the selling them by public auction, imposing a value-added tax of 12%, and obligating all institutions to send the Ministry of Finance's share of the total revenues up to the date. It also included stopping the work of embassies and attaches in countries where Iraq does not have any diplomatic, commercial, or cultural exchange, negotiating to postpone the dues of oil companies or paying them in kind outside the OPEC quota, and allowing the export of gravel and sand and the investment of mineral resources such as phosphate, sulfur, and uranium. On taxes, it including the formulation of the tax withholding ladder by supporting the low-income segments by raising the minimum tax level, adjusting the tax price of the people concerned to a price close to the price of neighboring countries, and imposing annual taxes on all cars according to their type. For the second axis, relating to the reforming the financial monetary policies, it included the imposition of comprehensive insurance on cars, expatriates, cars, fuel stations, imported materials, companies, crude oil, building permits, residential units, etc., supplies, medicines, water stations, and the educational process only. The reform paper also included on the Ministry of Finance in coordination with the central bank to the issue on electronic dinar for the purpose of collecting government revenues and deserved tags, reviewing the exchange rate against the dollar, deleting zero, guys. Okay, talking about here reviewing the dollar exchange rate against the dinar and deleting zeros, freeing banks from the hands of the Ministry of Finance, and forming an independent financial body that includes banks, money transfer companies, and insurance companies, and reducing the interest rate on investment projects. As the third axis, it includes restructuring public and losing companies, establishing a national telecommunications company, and presenting disabled government factories to the private sector. So let's talk about this. Notice how just this week alone is finally when Iraq finally came forward and talking about how they really need to do something with the exchange rate. Okay, they just started this roughly since last weekend. It's a new pattern for about a week now. Okay, and here they're talking about obviously deleting the zeros, doing something with the exchange rate, and implementing taxes, guys. Notice how this type of information did not come forward until Iraq finished the borrowing law. Remember how I stressed to you the borrowing law was the last step needed before they could change the rate? There you go. So now they can change the rate at any point in time, but they have to do it by the end of March. Okay? So Iraq's telling you here that they've got to do something. They're talking about now deleting the zeros, doing something with the exchange rate, that kind of thing. Okay, but I want to stress to you guys, typically when Iraq now puts an emphasis on something new that they need to do, it typically takes them 3 to 4 months to do it. Just go back and look at the borrowing law and the white paper reforms. They talked about both for almost 4 months before they got them done and ready to go from start to finish. Okay, it was about a 4 month process for them from start talking about it to finishing it, having it ready to go and approved in implementation. Okay, so there you guys go, guys. We're in a great spot right now. Um, Iraq's, Iraq's going to be a little quiet during the holiday period from any time from like now through mid-January. The news coming out of Iraq will be pretty quiet. You might see some good little pieces of news such as this right here creeping forward because Iraq is at the point where they're going to do the exchange rate, guys. But I'm just telling you, it's going to take them 3 to 4 months to do it. Okay. Um, so there you go. We're in a great spot. They again, they have to change the rate though by the end of March. Okay, that's their back wall in this. Okay, but again, Iraq made it very clear it has to happen in closer proximity to a brand new budget fiscal year, guys. And as you know, um, their budget fiscal year does not start until April. Okay, so and again, Iraq is walking in Kuwait's steps from many angles. Okay, so that's why I've stressed to you, it takes Iraq Well, let's look at something here. So I'm telling you that Iraq historically is going to be walking in Kuwait's footsteps on many angles. Kuwait changed the rate on March 24th of 1991 on a Sunday. Okay. I also am trying to stress to you, it takes when Iraq puts an emphasis on something new, it takes them about 4 months to do something and get it done. Okay. All right. So you guys have all the factual data. Okay. I'll let you guys make your own intelligent decisions off the hard factual data. Okay. I wish you guys the best. Have a great and wonderful day, and we will continue to monitor the news as it comes forward. God bless you guys. Have a great day.